welcome everyone to Buying Local. I'm your host, Mike Nelson from Five Towers Media. Joined today by, and Jim, you may be our number one guest. I'm not sure. I actually so ladies and gentlemen, Jim Bruchac from the Ndakinna in Greenfield Center. But it's funny, Jim. I had Jay Engleston on the show a couple days ago, who's also been on the show a good number of times.
Oh yeah. Good
And I
dude.
was like, I said to him, I was like, I don't know. I was like, either you or Jim. I'm not sure which one of you guys have had on the show the most, but it's a pretty tight running. So, but welcome back, Jim. We're super glad to have you, man.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Always a good time to share with you guys. And I
Yeah.
read you're knowledgeable of all the things we do. So that helps. And of course, we're happy to get the word out there. So much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Well, listen, I love what you guys do. Obviously, over the years, I've done so many different things with you guys at your location and beyond. And I love it. I think it's really unique programming. I think what you guys have to offer is amazing. So I'm excited to have you on again and talk about 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing.
30 plus years, really to be specific. Last year we celebrated our 30th camp year. So we're just past that 30-year mark.
Okay.
But the celebration is still ongoing. We've passed
Yeah, man.
3 centuries of doing youth camps here. We've been doing programs for, of course, longer than that, but we organized our first ever youth camps in the springtime 30 years ago last year. And we kind of did it on a whim. We had this idea, let's try to do some youth program, because originally I assumed we'd be doing more stuff with grownups, but I had already worked with kids a lot as an author and a storyteller and educator in that capacity. So we decided to give it a whirl. Run a spring break youth camp here at Ndakinna on our nonprofit at our nonprofit facility, at our nature preserve here, and it took off. I mean, we filled. I think we only advertised for like maybe a month and a half, and the camps filled up. So we realized then we had something. So we did some summer day camps, and that just was 2 weeks every summer for the first few years. And that just continued to expand until it took up a good portion of the summer, until we started adding some overnight camps. So it just kind of it grew, it organically grew based on interest. And as we did the programming, the interest just grew as well. So it's been a great 3 decades of doing these camps. And of course, they're continuing to this day, with the focus, of course, on kids learning some key survival skills like shelter making, fire making, as well as nature awareness, which also includes animal tracking, plant and tree identification, and just how to be comfortable in the woods, how to understand how to get along in the natural environment, feel safe, and be able to really enjoy the natural world. And of course, on top of that, bringing in a lot of the native legends that my brother and I were lucky enough to grow up hearing, a lot of them from our father. So we passed down some of the native traditions in the form of storytelling, which also ties into understandings of natural awareness, nature awareness. And so we've just continued to build on that over the years. And we started out with our adventure day camps. Eventually, we added our Pathfinder programs, which are more intensive teen programs. Of course, you offer for kids under the teens as well with junior Pathfinders, 10 to 12-year-olds, but teens primarily is what we started Pathfinders with, which was our first and continues our overnight camps, which are more intensive wilderness camps where kids will camp in tents, but also towards the end of the week get to camp in shelters they built. So we've kind of continued to build on the experiences. We've done trips in the Adirondacks over the years with kids, canoe trips, all sorts of different excursions, just with the idea of increasing kids' understanding of the natural world and feeling more comfortable in that environment.
Mm-hmm. It's really perfect time for this conversation too, because Kristen and I were just talking about summer camps for Bodie, and she mentioned yours because she got I don't know where she saw it, if she got like the Greenfield Town newsletter or something, but it was somewhere she came across it, and she's like, or maybe she Googled, I'm not sure, but I wanted to pick your brain, so now I get to do it on a podcast, right? So you've got. Tell me a little bit more about the summer camps, because I know we're coming up on those pretty fast.
Sure. So we start out with our Osbon camps, which is our ages basically like 5 to 7. And those camps, we will focus on same things I mentioned, but obviously to the level of the learner. So the
Mhm.
kids will learn shelter making, nature awareness. They'll hear a lot of stories, partake in native games. They usually aren't the group that does fire making. They will get to see how fire making is done and understand the principles of it. But we kind of start fire making at the 8-year-old and above. And, that guidance is always there, of course, because there's something you need to be very careful with. But of course, it's an essential survival skill. So, we cater each camp from Azaban to Awasos, Noka, Molsem, all the different age groups, based on what the kids can learn. And of course, once the kids have learned enough, they also could qualify for some of our more advanced camps as they get a little bit older, like our Pathfinder camp.
Mhm.
And so most of them are very wilderness intensive, learning about the natural world, getting out and doing these skills, but also having fun at the same time. So we incorporate various games. We also have a low ropes course here kids utilize. We have different activities throughout the day where they learn to use all of their senses more, like blindfolding them and playing various games to learn how to use their ears to listen to and understand their surroundings a little bit more. So we want it to be like a total, sensory experience as well, which is being in nature really is. So learn how to not just be looking at your phone all day, but observing, listening to everything in your surrounding world. So that's really what we try to do, open up people's awareness to what's around them. And of
So,
course,
Jim, I
no better than with young people.
yeah. Well, and we should probably touch a little bit on your family's ancestry, as you gave the names of the different categories of camps. If people aren't familiar with Ndakina, they might not know the background of
Sure.
why you're using those names. So why don't you give us a little bit of the rundown there?
Sure. So we are of mixed ancestry, European mixed with various native tribes from this part of the country. We are members of the Mohegan Abenaki tribe, one of the four state recognized Abenaki tribes in the United States. But like all Abenaki people and many people of native ancestry in this area, it's usually a mix of different ancestries. So we, of course, have our English ancestry, we have Slovak ancestry, we have quite a bit of Dutch ancestry, which also connects with some of our native ancestry, which includes, you know, Munsee Lenape people, Mohegan people, Mohawk people, and of course, Western Abenaki. But of course, all of those people kind of coalesced together at various times in history, such as at the community of Scaticoke, which
Mhm.
I have relatives that made their way to this area via there from those various native ancestries. And then, of course, a lot of people ended up settling in the Saratoga region for the tourist trade as well as the basket trade. And in fact, my dad's grandparents who raised him, their family descended from basket makers in this community of native ancestry, mixed native ancestry. So that's where kind of our original connection, mostly through my dad, through his grandparents, especially his grandfather, that connection to this area. But of course, people back then weren't very proud of their native ancestry. So my dad, especially in his college years, wanted to seek out a lot of the things that people were losing, like the stories, like those understandings of the history, because you didn't used to be able to make money telling stories or teaching these skills. And so my dad really took it upon himself to learn these things. And so my brother and I, as we grew up, we heard all the stories. We had an understanding of all of our ancestry. And so, of course, nowadays we're very proud of it. We like to share information with other people. My brother is, of course, a linguist. He speaks the language fluently, teaches at Middlebury College, runs courses throughout the year in Abenaki language, Eastern Algonquin languages, and of course has worked on movie sets, helping people learn the language to properly enunciate the words on set.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really, really cool. And a really cool family history. And I love that you guys are so immersed in sharing it with everybody, with the local community, and again, some of those skills. And I know you and I've had many, many, many conversations about this stuff, but a lot of the skills that you guys are teaching, and whether it's at the child level or adult level, is just really things you don't really see a lot out there anymore. And so I think makes it more imperative that the programming that you have, right?
Oh, I agreed. And we're having an interesting situation now. We're just seeing the end of what we call the COVID bump. So during COVID, for a little while, we were one of the few camps that was open, and
Yeah.
because we were outdoor based, we got flooded with new kids. All right. So this year we were wondering, why are we so how the little kids, there's a lot less of them than the middle and especially the older kids. We've never had teen groups this big.
Hmm.
And we realized these were all the COVID kids, they came in during that time. Some of them were 6, 7 years old when they came in, and they've stuck
Yeah.
with us. So that's really cool. And that was a time that, of course, was rough for everybody, and a horrible thing. But at the same time, it turned a lot more people onto the net and going into the woods. And of
Hmm.
course, now the Adirondacks is dealing with the negative effects. So many people are hiking now, which is great. And of course, we benefited from that as well. People wanting to spend more time outdoors. And so
Hmm.
we were here. And once again, it actually in the long run kind of helped our program. Now we're trying to backfill. We need some of
Yeah.
those younger kids to come back in here. So we're doing a lot of work to get some of the youngsters back in here while we're doing quite well with the older kids. And of course, here at Ndakinna, at our facility, we also offer martial arts programming. And of course, we do offer one martial arts camp during the summer. My family, we are all black belts in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and other arts. And so we've incorporated martial arts in this facility. And that grew a lot post COVID. People wanting
Hmm.
to get back in shape. And so that program has grown quite a bit. And as you know, we also had to add another location for our jujitsu at Wilton Mall. So
Yeah.
separate but related stuff, which has, of course, grown over the last half decade quite a bit.
Yeah. And on the martial arts side, you have, are you, what, I know that you have Kyokushin and
Yep.
you have, what, are you running any jujitsu out of the doc?
Yeah, we still have some jujitsu here at Ndakinna. The kids program has stayed here strong, although there are still more, of course, in jujitsu at Wilton Mall. But the kids are still here because we also offer the kids Muay Thai, so they can go back and forth between kickboxing / Muay Thai and jujitsu. So some of those same kids also train at the mall, but then we have a population of kids that live close to here they'll want to take advantage of being able to train in multiple martial arts. And of course,
Mhm.
martial arts, another one of the arts of life, as well as, understanding your environment, survival skills. Martial arts is really part of that, part of being a kind of a complete human being, mind, body, spirit. And
Yeah.
so, kids programs doing great here. For the adults, a lot of it is focusing now on the Muay Thai. Of course, we have the Kyokushin and Judo and a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu. And we have one of, if not the first professional Muay Thai fighter in the Saratoga area, just won his second pro fight this time in Buffalo. He won his first pro fight while living and training in Thailand for 5 months. Marcus
Oh,
Davis,
wow.
who's a well-known Saratoga grad, great guy. His father, that is, only a few years ago retired from Saratoga Police Department. And he's a great guy. He also helps coach here, Marcus Davis. Very good fighter. Had an incredible KO with a spinning elbow in Buffalo at K4 Fighting. Pretty awesome this past
Yeah.
weekend. And this weekend also martial arts. We had one of our young, a 19-year-old get gold in the IBJJF New York International Open, which is a high level jiu-jitsu tournament. So we had kind of a cool weekend. We had someone win in our striking arts and someone win in our jiu-jitsu arts.
Very nice. I know I can speak to Marcus's coaching ability. I've taken a couple of the Muay Thai classes, only a couple, unfortunately, because of my schedule, but I did really enjoy the classes, and he was a really good instructor.
No, yeah, he's a great guy. He's kind of
Yeah.
a fan favorite. So we were happy when he came back. He turned pro in Thailand, so we were
Mhm.
happy when he returned home, because we get to have him help coach here, and of course to win his U.S. debut, because he
Mhm.
debuted in Thailand, to win his first pro fight in the United States that way was pretty awesome. So knockout in the second round, and just a great guy though too. You meet him, he's really humble but
Yeah.
extremely skilled.
Well, congrats to Marcus on the win. Um, so you have the summer camps coming up. Obviously, that's a times of the essence, right? That's kind of
Yes.
summer's coming fast, man.
Yep.
You got the martial arts. What other kind of programming you guys doing over at the
So
doc?
we also, of course, recently, as you know, rebooted up our Sunday survival series. We're doing a series of classes throughout the year. Basically, the final Sunday of every month, every quarter, that is, not every
Mhm.
month. Um, we do several times a quarter. Sorry, back that up. 2 times a quarter, last Sunday of the month. We offer courses for grown-ups, and they're like half-day classes, and we made them affordable $40 classes. You can come in and learn animal tracking, And not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after, we have our Wilderness Navigation Essentials class, and we still do have some room in that. So that's a really good course to understand how to navigate the woods with a compass, and also how to use natural navigation, how to use the sun, the stars, the moon, the way plants grow, and just anything in nature that could be used to tell which way is which. And of course, not being lost is kind of an important survival skill. And of course, I have another animal tracking course coming up at the end of May. And then we will be shortly after that adding a bow drill fire making course, learn how to make your own fire by friction kit, and then just go on from there. So we're going to keep adding more courses, things that I teach, as well as we will eventually bring in other experts as well to teach some of those Sunday survival series. So that's kind of cool. And my brother has a language course coming up in a couple weekends as well, the Abenaki language. And then we are already in planning for our fall harvest festival, which we did last year, year before.
Yeah.
Originally was the Saratoga Native American Festival, a big event we ran the grounds of the Performing Arts Center, the Dance Museum, Congress Park. And we, after COVID, decided to run smaller events here at our facility, hundreds of people versus thousands, but it's much more intimate. And so we will be running that event again in September. So always looking forward to that.
Nice. Very nice. Uh, I had a specific question for it, and I think and now you do, there's other things that you offer too, right? At Ndakinna that are not necessarily your programming, but other people using the facilities.
Sure.
Can you?
Yeah, right now we have Clark Hayward. He is runs Adirondack Wilderness Medicine. He is running a course for wilderness first responders, and he also does wilderness first aid courses. So he is running a class right now doing that. So we
Nice.
offer programs like that that are, someone else but related to what we do. And then, of course, we have storytelling events with ourselves and other guest storytellers throughout the year. We've done basket making classes here. We're looking to bring in more things like that in the future as well. So different, regional material culture, arts and crafts type stuff as well here at Ndakinna. And of course, we run school field trips here throughout the year. That season's about to start. Season starting in about 2 weeks. We
Nice.
will have 12 different schools coming in over the course of May and June. Learning about Native culture. Some are here more to focus on wilderness skills, wilderness survival, team building, and just have a good time in the natural world.
Yeah. I I took the wilderness first aid with Clark, right?
Yeah, Clark.
Yeah, yeah. I loved that class. That was great. I thought the instruction was great. It was a good time. It was fun. Definitely two thumbs up and highly recommend. But it's funny you said the bow drill fire
Yeah.
making class. That's the one I haven't taken yet, Jim. Out of all the stuff that you guys have going on there, I have not. And how hard is it really?
Depends on what type of material I let you use. So
Okay.
first go round, we have it kind of pre-cut, pretty easy. You just have to fine tune it and finish up the kit.
Hmm.
It's mostly about the technique, learning how to actually navigate the tools to
Yeah.
get smoke and eventually get a coal, and then taking that coal and making it into fire. So I try not to make it too hard the first time,
Yeah.
get down the technique, and then over time learn how to do it in the woods. One of my fondest moments teaching survival from, boy, it's probably a few decades ago. We were doing a wilderness walkabout, and bow drill fire wasn't part of this class. We were doing more spark fires and things that people could obtain quickly. But everybody's eating lunch. I looked around me, and there were some materials that looked pretty good. So I was able to use a little bit of elm bark, a string, fashioned a bow out of a maple sapling. There were some big dead branches on a pine tree right next to me. I kicked them off, split them. So with a knife, I had made a kit and had a fire before people finished lunch. So
Nice.
that was one of my coolest moments as a survival instructor. But I just assessed the area as a nice dry day, and so much was around me that I could use that I wanted to try it out, and it worked quite well in a short amount of time. So
Yeah, it's fascinating those skills and being able to have them and use them, and when you put it into perspective of how many people do not have those skills.
exactly.
And and I know that you talk about it in some of your classes too, just about everyday situations where those skills can come in handy, right? Like people they hear about bow drill fire making and they're like, I'm never gonna need that, right? I got a lighter. But it's like, well, there's situations that
No,
happen.
there certainly are, and building it by yourself from scratch, if you've never done it before, could be hard. But if you
Mhm.
understand the principles, doing one with another person where you get one person on either side of a bow, two pushing down. I have kids come here, teenagers during field trips, and I will give them a finished kit, a
Mhm.
bigger one made for multiple people. And if there's 3 to 4 groups doing it, at least half of the groups get a coal.
Yeah.
And that's within 10-15 minutes. So if you understand the principles, especially if there's more than one person that can work together, it's a very obtainable feat. By yourself takes a little more practice to do a solo bow drill kit, but the actual science behind it, once you understand that, it's not all that hard, especially with
Yeah.
practice.
Practice, that's the thing. I always think about the practice side of it when I do the survival class, like the fire making, like I do a class and I'm like, all right, I got these skills in the tool bag, but I don't ever practice them. I'm like, I wonder if I would actually be able to do what I learned in that class without practice is what I got to do.
Yeah, you have it's just like martial arts, you get rusty for a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of like riding a bike, but maybe you need one more training wheel on there for a little while. So it's there, but you just need to reawaken it. And the further you separate yourself from it, the harder it is to get back to where you were before.
Yeah.
But you still come back quicker having already learned it and understood that skill, whether it be a martial art or a survival skill. It's the same with me in tracking. If I haven't been out west tracking in a while in grizzly country, I have to kind of remind myself and,
Mhm.
you know, understand my surroundings again. And then in a short amount of time, I'm usually back to where I was the last time I was in that environment.
Comes back quick. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
pretty cool.
fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know we're getting short on time, but school field trip season coming up.
Yep.
Then right behind that is summer camps. Well, summer camps start beginning of July,
Summer camps start usually mid-July. They go mid-July to late August.
late
Like,
August.
yeah, yeah, right. They end a couple weeks before school starts. So, but
Okay.
it's usually I say mid-July, mid-August, but it's kind of mid-July to a week after mid-August. So
All right.
if that
All right.
makes sense. And we have
Yeah.
multiple camps going on at once. And of course, we do camps also on Spruce Mountain. One of our board members, Brian Brumley, owns some property up there we use. So we're able to do some satellite programs up there, especially with our teenagers. We do a day camp up there, the Natawaha camp, where it's an extended day camp for 4 days up on the mountain. And then we also have 2 overnights. We have our junior Pathfinders and our full Pathfinders program as well. And juniors for younger kids. And of course, the full Pathfinders is for teenagers. And that's the more intensive tracking and survival experience.
Love it. If Jim, if people want to learn more about these summer camps, they want to sign their kids up, or some of the survival series or the martial arts, where do they find you guys online?
Yeah, so you go to www.ndakinna, that's Ndakinna center.org, ndakinnacenter.org.
Okay. And you can sign up for everything right there, get more info
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
all online and mentions how much room we have left, what needs to be done to get you in the program. And of course, we have, you can also email with any questions. Of course, those questions do arise.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Jim, as always, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and spending some time with us and our listeners and giving the lowdown on what you guys got going on. And I think I say it every show, not to sound like a fanboy, but I love what you guys do, and fascinating family, and you're doing a lot of great, really cool stuff.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to mention, speaking of kids, I was talking about Marcus and our recent adult achievements. We also have had kids. We had a kid become a Muay Thai world champion last year, Damian Snyder, who also just won the New York State Wrestling Championships through
Nice.
our wrestling program. So we have kids that are doing really awesome things, and we have 3 kids going this year to the WBC um, World Championships in Muay Thai in Thailand. So we're sending 3 kids to that this year. So
That's cool.
kids are doing great things here and all levels as well as the grown-ups.
Yeah, love it. Jim, thanks again, man. I
Hey, you're
appreciate it.
welcome, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully we'll get you on again soon.